Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
Patronizing this whole funeral and going from one person to the other, asking for money and so on. You're being accused.
Asking for what?
Asking for money in South Africa. I think I've heard KBF Tayali, who has attacked you several times just at the point when President Lungu died, that you've been asking for money in South Africa. You are trying to move from one place to the other and trying to use the funeral of President Lungu for your own personal gains, because you understand that your political career now is done and dusted after President Lungu has died. What do you make of these allegations?
Just I had a lot of respect for you until this question.
These are allegations that you can respond to.
Tayali becomes a source for you, that you can even subject me to a conversation around the KBF Tayali. You can do better. Jeswa, find better sources.
These are allegations leveled against you.
You are too high of a journalist and anchor of a program to reduce yourself to diary and pajamas. Do better.
How will the party remember President Lungu?
President Lungu was a simple, humble man who suffered a high level of propaganda against him. But he still remained true to himself. And I must confess here on Diamond Television, as one of the most critical personalities around President Lungu when he became president, I was converted to start supporting him. And Never Sumumba, who today speaks against President Lungu, would attest to this. When it came to the amendment of the Constitution, the Bill number 2 of 2016. Because Winter Kavimba, who was speaking on ZNBC, he was Minister of Justice at some point. The technical committee appointed by, Michael Sata, finished its work, presented the views of the people and the bill. Mr. Sata's response was that, is there any animal-driven constitution, if you remember, in a famous pronouncement. Next thing, the so-called bill was being said to have gotten lost in government. And Winter Kavimba, the one who wants to present himself as a principled man, my good elder brother, retorted what I think was a very disappointing position, suggesting that that the bill had gotten lost. When he was fired as the Secretary General and he formed the Rainbow Party, if you remember that time, we met at what's this hotel next to Parliament Motel, Courtyard, I think.
Yeah.
Courtyard Hotel. And he wanted to try and present himself as an advocate for a new constitution. And there was this opposition alliance, HH and everybody in opposition were gathered. I stood up and I said, my elder brother, the line you are taking is hypocritical. You were Minister of Justice a few weeks ago. You can't flip today and start admonishing PF over the Constitution when you were Minister of Justice and said it was lost. So shut up in this meeting. And luckily, Venom Mwanga stood up to try and say, no, we need to discuss because it was part of those where, whatever. That kind of politics should never be tolerated. I am forced to go that far because the level of hypocrisy in Zambia generally is pathetic. It's pathetic in the sense that it looks like those who are inclined to tell the truth are condemned compared to those who tell lies. Okay? When you say President Lungu became Minister of Justice, what did he say? I'm Minister of Justice now. That so-called bill was never lost. For as long as I am kept as Minister of Justice, this bill will see the light of day in Parliament. Things happened. He ended up becoming president. Do you know what President Lungu did on the day of inauguration? He appointed Dr. Sipiakula as Minister of Justice and gave him a mandate that I'm appointing you to fulfill my pledge that that bill must see the light of day in Parliament. Fast forward, opposition began to engage and agitate, thinking that there must have been some motive around the amendment of the Constitution. We met President Lungu with Nevas Mumba and other people to talk about this bill. President Lungu said, please don't involve me. There will be no white paper. This bill from the technical committee, deal with it and go to Parliament having. If you think I'll be like other presidents who are afraid of 50+1, I'm not one of them. If I'm not going to win in 2026, so be it, but give the people of Zambia an opportunity to give themselves a constitution that they so desire. I have read this document. It may have lacunas and so on, but I am not the people of Zambia. I am just but one among the citizens. I am privileged to be president, but take it as it is.
The Constitution is one of the
on
things.
that basis, on that basis, I immediately developed respect for that man.
The Constitution is one of the most important
It's
things.
a legacy issue for President Edgar Chagwa. Even Bill 10, if people paid attention, ask Sean Tembo and other people who were with at ZCID as the board members. When the issue of amendment or refining the Constitution came up, Minister of Justice, Given Luwinda, was going around the country and they had come up with a report and so on. We made an appointment meeting leaders of political parties with representation in Parliament. We ended up meeting President Lungu and we refused to follow him at State House. We said we should meet you at Secretariat, and we did. UPND was part of it.
Yeah.
When we met there, we told President Lungu, we will not allow you as government to pursue this the amendment of the Constitution as government in the manner you are proceeding. Can you suspend those activities? President Lungu turned to Minister of Justice, Given Winda. Have you heard what I've said? These are critical stakeholders. Suspend that, and we give you the freedom to drive this agenda. And I can tell you, from that perspective, President Lungu, up to today, whether it was Kaunda, Chiluba, Manawasa, Lupia Banda, Michael Sata, including now the attempt to bulldoze the Zambian people into a constitution that favors UPND, Edgar Chagwa is exceptional because he wanted the will of the people to prevail, even over Bill 10.
What is the future? What does the future of the Patriotic Front look like? I mean, there are a lot of curious questions out there. That did President Lungu appoint or coach someone to take over from him as president?
First of all, President Lungu, his philosophy was never around having a leader handpicked. He said to all of us, including those of us who worked with him, on a daily basis, he believed that leadership comes from God. He also believed that a leader emerges by the responsibility and the works they undertake in their service to the people. President Lungu never appointed or endorsed anybody for presidents. He, yes, may have talked good of individuals, including myself. That's how come possibly I was privileged to have been appointed Secretary General. But I cannot sit here and start claiming that President Lungu endorsed me for presidency, because he kept on saying to all of us, Ngauli Ntungurushi, if you are a leader, it will show.
Yes.
And the future of PF, based on your question.
There's a report from SABC, it should be one or two, I was watching it, when President Edgar Lungu died. The reporters say that you as the Patriotic Front had conversations with the Zambia we want. KBF's political party, Zambia must prosper. And that there were intentions for the Patriotic Front to feud in the Zambia we want, the Zambia must prosper in the 2026 general elections, because of the fact that you're having it back and forth in the Patriotic Front. Would you confirm that these were conversations that we were having with KBF while President Edgar Lungu was alive?
I don't know why you want to reduce me into discussing silly things. I'm telling you.
I've given you a background that when President Edgar Lungu died, the people in South Africa.
Which people are you talking?
From SABC. From SABC. I mentioned
SABC are you talking
SABIC, the channel in South Africa. Were given a report on the death of President Lungu. One of the things that they mentioned was that during his time, as he was alive in South Africa, they were having conversations with KBF and the party. For you as a Patriotic Front to use his party as a special purpose vehicle into the 2026 elections. And I think after that, there were conversations now with people that probably President Edgar Lungu could have endorsed KBF. Would you confirm if this is true?
I want you to look in my eyes and possibly examine people. I am on terra firma and in situ as Secretary General appointed by President Edgar Chagwa for Patriotic Front, later on for Tonse. There was no conversation whatsoever. President Lungu was not driven by emotions. He was a very procedural person. There were attempts to try and abuse his name here and there. But I know for a fact that President Lungu was very sensitive and usually got upset. It's just that he was not a loud person whenever people attempted to abuse his name. Listen to me, don't curtail me. There is nobody who can claim under the sun that President Lungu went to them and said, you are my preferred candidate. I would have known. Whether it is plan B and any intricates around the discussion for leadership, President Lungu was not a fraudster. He was not a deceiver. He was not a trickster. He was an honorable man who shared, including his health condition, to those who was comfortable to talk to openly. So I'm telling you, the only thing President Lungu said, whether it was in 2021 when he went for sabbatical leave, was that the process to identify a leader should be transparent, should be open, should have the legitimacy of the Zambian people and the Patriotic Front. So if there's anybody within Patriotic Front and outside who are seeking to try and manipulate and deceive Zambians that were endorsed, they are wasting their time. If you have it, you are a leader seeking to serve the Zambian people genuinely. The Zambian people will identify you, the Patriotic Front members will identify you, and the Tonsa Alliance will identify you. There will be no fraudster, whether within PF, outside PF, that will use manipulation and dirty politics to try and ascend to the presidency. As Secretary General, and I'm saying this with every authority at my disposal, moral, positional or otherwise, and every power at my disposal, there will be no manipulation in the process of identifying a leader. Zambia deserves better. We have gone too low for us to start playing around the issue of presidency. After Hakainde Hichilema, we deserve better.
Just a moment. So there's now a vacancy. I don't know if there's a vacancy. You can confirm this, SG Nakachinda. Who is the Tonse chairman now, and I ask in this context, does the constitution of Tonse speak to a vacancy when a person dies or they're unwell? In this regard, there's a vice chairperson who is Honorable Danny Pule, who is vice chairperson of Tonse. There's acting president, Given Lwinda, who is party president of the Patriotic Front. Does it take over as chairperson of Tonse, or perhaps the deputy chairperson is the one that takes over that position? In understanding how this plays out.
It's not about to be understanding, it's in black and white. PF is the anchor political party in Tonse. And before we got into Tonse, we had 14 rules of engagement which were accepted. Among the rules of engagement is that PF will be an anchor party to produce a chairman and presidential candidate. It's very clear. And even in the constitution is clear. So at the moment, Honorable Given Lwinda is acting. Any development within PF in terms of leadership is what will determine who is going to be chair. So there is internal issues of PF, and then it will inform what happens to Tonse. That's the position.
Would you share with the public what the fondest memories that you have with President Edgar Lungu?
President Edgar Lungu was an honest gentleman, honest about his weakness, honest about his strength. He was patriotic, committed to his country. He loved his country genuinely. Very forgiving.
Are there light moments you shared with him?
We need 2 days or more for us to discuss that subject. But he's one of the nicest men I ever met. He has so much strength and depth while he's presenting a facade of weakness.
Your last remarks to the Patriotic Front across the country and the nation now that are looking to you as the Patriotic Front, the largest opposition political party in the country.
Unity is the key. Let's amaze the Zambian people on the continent. Let's remain united. They are hoping for us to divide. Let's surprise them with unity of purpose. Thank you.
Well, that is Patriotic Front Secretary General as well as Tonse Alliance Secretary General Honorable Raphael Nakachinda. We're looking at the death of former President Edgar Lungu, but also we're discussing some of the conditionalities that were met as a compromise between the family and the government of the Republic of Zambia. On behalf of the entire production crew, thank you so much for watching. See you again on Wednesday for another exclusive edition of Diamond Life. My name is Andrew Wansa.
My name is Cheso Kapasa. Good night.
Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.